I spent 3 years being their perfect daughter-in-law. I cooked, I cleaned, and I endured her insults while she treated me like a servant. But what I found in her jewelry box changed everything. They thought I was weak. They were wrong. This is how my revenge turned their perfect family into a nightmare. My name is Chloe. I'm 23, and 3 years ago, I thought I had won the lottery of life. I met Brandon in our final year of college in Chicago. He was charming, wealthy, and seemed to adore me. When he asked me to move into his family's estate in Connecticut after graduation, I thought it was a dream come true. The dream ended the moment I met his mother, Evelyn. Evelyn didn't shake my hand. She looked at my shoes, a pair of sensible flats, and sighed. I suppose we'll have to teach you how to present yourself, Chloe. We have a reputation to uphold. From day one, the lessons began. Brandon worked long hours at his father's firm, leaving me alone with Evelyn. It started small. Chloe, the housekeeper is off today. Could you just quickly polish the silver? Then it was the laundry. Then it was the 5-course meals that had to be on the table by 7 p.m. sharp. Brandon, I whispered one night, my hands raw from cleaning chemicals. Your mom, she treats me like I'm the hired help. I have a marketing degree, I should be looking for a job. Brandon didn't even look up from his phone. Babe, she's just traditional. She's testing you to see if you're wife material. Just play along. Once we're married, it'll stop. Besides, she pays for everything. Let's not rock the boat. But the boat was sinking. Every morning at 6 a.m., Evelyn would knock on my door. The floors don't scrub themselves, dear. And I want a poached egg, not fried. Try not to fail at the simple things today. I became a ghost in that house. I stopped wearing makeup. I stopped seeing my friends. I was the girl who ironed Evelyn's silk sheets and scrubbed the grout in the guest bathrooms with a toothbrush. The tension was a living thing. I felt like a coiled spring, waiting for the one moment where I would finally snap. The red flags were everywhere. Evelyn would talk about me in the third person while I was standing right there. She's a bit thick-headed, isn't she, Brandon? But at least she's obedient. Brandon would just laugh. He wasn't my protector. He was her accomplice. Evelyn, you missed a spot on the baseboard, Chloe. Do it again. In this family, we don't settle for good enough. You're lucky we even let you sit at the table. Chloe, I'm your son's fiancé, Evelyn. Not your maid. Evelyn, in this house, you are whatever I say you are. The breaking point came during the planning of the gala of the year. It was Evelyn's 50th birthday celebration. She had me working 20-hour days. I was the event planner, the decorator, and the waitress, all for zero pay. 2 days before the event, I was cleaning Evelyn's master suite when she was out. I knocked over a small wooden box on her vanity. Out tumbled a series of documents and a USB drive. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. The documents weren't about the party. They were legal papers. Brandon's family business was a shell. They were broke, living off a massive insurance fraud scheme involving stolen family heirlooms that were actually hidden in a safe deposit box in the city. But that wasn't the worst part. I found a printed email chain between Evelyn and Brandon. Evelyn, how much longer do we have to keep this girl around? She's exhausting to look at. Brandon, just until the wedding, Mom. Her grandfather's trust fund clears when she turns 25 next month. Once she signs the prenuptial agreement I drafted, the one that gives me power of attorney over her assets, we can dump her in a condo and never see her again. She's so desperate for love, she'll sign anything. My heart didn't just break, it turned into ice. I wasn't just a servant. I was a bank account. They were using my labor to keep their house clean while they plotted to steal my inheritance. I looked at the prenuptial agreement on the desk. It was a predatory document designed to strip me of every penny my grandfather had left me. I realized then that every "I love you" from Brandon was a calculated lie. Every insult from Evelyn was a way to break my spirit so I wouldn't fight back. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I put the papers back exactly as I found them. I walked downstairs, made Evelyn her tea, and smiled when she told me I looked haggard. I'm just excited for the party, Evelyn, I said. It's going to be a night no one ever forgets. The night of the gala arrived. The house was filled with the elite of Connecticut. Brandon looked at me in my simple black dress, the only thing I was allowed to wear, and whispered, "Ready to become a permanent part of the family, Chloe? Let's sign those papers in the study before the toast." "Of course, Brandon," I said, my voice steady. But I hadn't spent the last 48 hours crying. I had spent them talking to a lawyer and a private investigator. When the time came for the big birthday toast, Evelyn stood on the grand staircase, a glass of champagne in her hand, looking down at everyone like a queen. Brandon stood beside her, looking smug. "I'd like to thank my wonderful family," Evelyn began. "And of course our help, Chloe, for making this evening possible." I stepped forward. I wasn't holding a tray. I was holding the remote to the giant projector screen she had set up for a slideshow of her life. "I have a special tribute for you, Evelyn," I shouted over the crowd. I pressed play. It wasn't photos of her childhood. It was the email chain between her and Brandon. The screen showed their plan to steal my inheritance. Then it showed photos the PI took of the stolen jewelry hidden in their secret storage unit. Finally, it showed the bank statements proving their bankruptcy. The room went silent. The sound of champagne glasses hitting the floor was the only noise. "What is this?" Evelyn shrieked, her face turning a ghostly white. "It's my resignation," I said. "And your audit." At that moment, the front doors opened. It wasn't more guests. It was the authorities. The insurance fraud evidence I had sent them was more than enough for a warrant. As they led Evelyn away in handcuffs, still wearing her stolen diamonds, she looked at me with pure hatred. Brandon tried to grab my arm, pleading, "Chloe, it was just a joke. I love you." I pulled away and handed him a bill. "This is for 3 years of housekeeping, catering, and personal assistant services at a premium rate. I've already filed a lien against this house. Since you're broke, I guess I own the estate now." My revenge was complete. I watched them lose their reputation, their freedom, and their home in a single night. I walked out of that house, drove to a hotel, and for the first time in 3 years, I didn't have to wake up at 6 a.m. for anyone. They tried to break me, but they only ended up breaking themselves. If you think justice was served, hit that like button. Have you ever dealt with a toxic mother-in-law? Tell me your story in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories of justice and revenge. Thanks for watching.